Hey folks, welcome to another video for the Modern Survivalist channel. In this case, we'll see in real life the advantage that you have when you have a revolver versus a pistol, right? Now, these days, most people understand, yeah, semi-automatics is the way to go. Now, I insist, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've insist, if you are not someone that has a certain amount of training with defensive shooting, with firearms, then you're better off with a revolver, not a semi-automatic pistol. Oh, but Fernando, I've been shooting my entire life in my farm, in my town, my neighbor, my uncle taught me how to shoot. He's been, with the Marines for his entire life. Okay, you still don't get it. If you don't have the necessary training so as to handle a weapon like this, a semi-automatic pistol, in a proficient way under stress, you're better off with a revolver that, even though more complex, even though more fragile, even though it has less capacity of ammunition, it's a lot more simple in terms of the user interface, in terms of the manual of arms, because you simply pull the trigger and it goes boom about 5-6 times, give or take, but it is a lot more reliable in terms of you screwing up than this gun. If something goes wrong with this gun, then you better have training, which a lot of people simply don't have. They'll assume they'll rise to the occasion. You'll always fall back to your lowest level of training. I think it was Clint Smith that said that. That's actually a quote I actually like. So let's see what we see in this video and then comment. We have our usual dirtbag about to rob a fast food store. This is how it goes, right? So he's already nervous. Now, lots of these things I've explained. I mean, it's kind of a joke by now, but sometimes it's even like the drawings of, like, check this out, right? I don't come from the future. This is just typical. What you see here in terms of the guy with the hoodie, that guy, right? You see that guy over there? That one, right? That number one, hoodie, baseball cap, hands in his pockets. Well, that's freaking this guy right there. Pretty much, he's only missing the glasses, which he's just too stupid to remember. Even he could have like a mask or something, even these days it's more socially acceptable, but it's textbook, as in my textbook, regarding what is it that you should be looking out for. And remember, people kill with their hands. You strike, you stab, you shoot with your hands. If you don't see the hands already, be worried. Now, as we continue to see this, look how he's moving his feet. He's nervous. He's talking, bro. Yeah, give me whatever. But in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I'm gonna be robbing this place, right? So he goes there, and then boom, there we go. Brings out his gun. No, what? Oh yeah. You notice what's going on there already? Now he's nervous. He's pointing the gun. He's shaking the gun at him. You probably already know what happened. Yeah, there is an interruption in his gun. Notice how he has the finger on the trigger. He's shaking the gun all over the place. If there hadn't been an interruption caused by the user, he would have shot him already like 5 or 6 times. It is pretty sensitive. Once you already go into single action, or when you already have a round in the chamber, these are quite sensitive. A little bit of pressure is enough to just shoot the gun, which is as it's intended. It's not a problem with a gun. Guns don't go off accidentally, at least not quality guns. Yes, of course, there's always the SIG P320, but if you have a good gun like a Glock, it will not fire on its own. Now, what you see this man do is put a finger on the trigger and just shake the gun. Of course, he could have shot this poor guy at any moment. Fortunately, he's such a dumbass that he caused an interruption. Now, as you see right there, in several occasions, it's super visible. He has a round that is caught between the slide and the barrel, right? Now, this is the point in which I insist. If you don't have the training so as to use one of these guns in an instinctive manner, in which that you only acquire if you have defensive shooting training, if you haven't taken at least a single class with a qualified instructor, I don't care where you're from, I don't care where you grew up or who's your uncle or your daddy, if you haven't had that training, you will not rise to the occasion. You will not learn how to quickly, almost instinctively clear these things. Probably it's not just the training that you have, probably throw in there some competition in which you do these things under stress. Unless that's you, you will be better off with a revolver with just 5 or 6 rounds than a gun that you may end up screwing up when you use it. Now, in terms of specifically how this happened, I also know, and you probably don't realize what really went on here, but let me show you. First of all, safety first. Yes, no magazine, chamber empty. This is more of my safety. You're safely home, so there's no problem for you. Empty mag, and I'll use some of these, some of these couple of these red snap caps, right? So what happened was our, brain surgeon there decided, I'll rob this store. So he did this. He prepared himself and he was ready to go. Now, of course, because he hasn't got the training, he hasn't got, he's a damn loser, given that he's a thug robbing a fast food joint, right? What he did was he hid his gun, and then when he was going to rob the place, he's, oh, okay. Now, I'm talking about this guy, but this could perfectly happen to a number of law-abiding civilians that, again, they have in common that they don't have the training and they will screw up. Because you don't have the training, you're not carrying this in the way you're supposed to carry it in a holster with a round in the chamber. You're not already, instinctively, knowing that when you draw, you don't do this. That's what you do when you put your gun in your holster. You don't do that when you draw your gun. There's already a round in the chamber. Lack of training means that this guy put a round in the chamber, but then when he went to rob the place, he did 2 awful things. First of all, he forgot about the round in the chamber, and then he grabbed the slide covering the ejection window. He did like this, and when he came back, he caused an interruption, right? And in fact, this one is not as bad as the one he has there. He has one that is aligned and it's a lot more difficult to clear. I explain how to clear some of the malfunctions here in Street Survival Skills, Tap, Rack, Bang, or just, some of the more simple ones you can just clear by, just when you have a stovepipe. That's a good way of clearing it. Sometimes it just it slaps into place. Sometimes if it's like caught like it is now, you probably want to do a tap, rack, bang. Now, because I only had 2, it's empty, but that one went in as soon as I tapped it, right? You still go through a tap, rack, bang because you don't know, and you're just working on, basic core mechanics that you have incorporated. Now, if I have a full magazine, I would have lost a couple rounds, but this would already be ready to go with a round in the chamber. These are all things you learn when you get the proper training, when you practice, and yeah, when you compete and do these things under stress. If you're in the middle of a competition and something goes, if you see something, and you just fix it right there. This guy is, nothing like that. But to the point of this video, for what matters for you is, if you're going to be going about with semi-automatic, Glock pistol is fantastic as long as you do your part, right? If you're not someone that will take the necessary training, compete, train with certain frequency, I think that the competition aspect gives that extra level of stress that you cannot get otherwise, other than being in an actual gunfight. That level of stress that you get in competition can be helpful so as to develop these skills. If not, just go with a revolver. If you just want something that is simple, that doesn't require a whole lot of training, and basically with a beginner's defensive shooting course, right, that you take so as to learn at least the very basics that you always should get in spite of whatever gun you have. If that's going to be you and you're not all that inclined to keep on training, practicing, and going to the extra step, right, in that case, revolver, guys. That's the best thing. With a revolver, this would not have happened. Now, I'm looking at it in terms of not a thug, but a law-abiding citizen that all of a sudden goes, right? That's the kind of thing that can get you killed. Things are getting complicated all over the world. This is not just in the United States. I'm telling you, crime, violent crime, lack of respect for life, not giving a damn about anything anymore, it's going up globally. And you'll see more of these things. It used to be that you could have a gun made of freaking wood. You could have a toy gun. You would never have had much of a need for it to begin with. Now, you're getting closer to this, to the experience I've had growing up in Argentina, and as an adult, as the economy went to hell and the entire country fell to pieces, and the country that it is right now. All of these things are different from what you guys are used to. You're used to these things being rare, not something like this happening happening pretty much around the clock all day in your city, right? Or in your town. And it's slowly getting to that point. People are now, yeah, Fernando, yeah, this happens in my town all day long. Well, didn't happen a few years ago. Now you're getting to the point where all of these little details, anything you screw up, it could be that you could go your entire life with a toy gun, as your concealed carry weapon, wouldn't have made any difference. Now you're getting to a level where you need this information. You need to get yourself the training. Now I get it. If you don't get at least a class with a qualified instructor, lots of idiots out there. If you can get that at least street survival skills, I'm telling you, I explain in the book the basics that you learn in some of your beginners course. Some of the basic stuff of proper grip and clearing some of the basic malfunctions, some of the more common ones, and how to move with a gun and so on. I do explain it. It's always better if you take a class with a qualified instructor, but if not, there you go. And of course, in terms of the economic aspect of preparedness, as I say in all my videos, Surviving the Economic Collapse, both of these are available in Amazon in the links there below. Guys, I hope you learned something cool today. See you on the next video.